Hello everybody, I hope you are well. My name is Glasys, and today I'm going to be showing you the Extreme Ensembles 10 Electric Guitars library for Soundpaint. Now this library is very unique. What the people at ADO have done is they've had 10 guitarists play through amps at the same time in a concert hall, and they've captured that. They've captured tons of different articulations and sounds, and ranging from tonal sounds you can play to all kinds of sound effects and stuff. And it's really special and sounds big and thick, and it's just unique. I've never seen anything quite like it before. So let's just dive right into it. So first of all, as in many of ADO's libraries, you can choose different mics that you can either play solo or layer together. So for example, here's a sample called Sustain Vibrato. Now here's the close mic layer of that. As you can hear, it's very dry, very upfront. Now let's add the wide microphone of that. Turn it up. And finally, let's add the Decca mic as well. Now, I did run out of polyphony in that example. As you could hear, maybe some notes cut off, but that's really easy to change in the program settings, and you can change that per program. The nice thing about having these 3 separate microphones is that you can layer them and mix them any way you want, and it really gives you infinite possibilities and sounds without even touching the effects or modulation settings. So before we dive into the tonal sounds of this library, I want to show you some of the cool sound effects that are included in it. And there are really hundreds, if not thousands of them, so I'm not going to show you a lot of them, but just a few so you kind of get an idea of the wide range of sounds that are possible here. For example, strums, Deadnotes, feedbacks, fret noises, rakes, scrapes, slides, squeals, and the list goes on and on. These sounds are really useful for sound design, and you can do so much with them. All right, let's move on to the more tonal samples. So for simplicity's sake, I'm mainly going to use the close mic samples for this demo, and I'm just going to improvise a little with all kinds of different sounds and articulations. And after that, I'm going to show you some of the patches that I created that are a little more experimental and use more effects and stuff like that, and layering and modulation. But first, we're going to start with the simple, unaltered articulations. I really love the power chord samples in this, and there are so many of them, but they sound just really big and powerful. Here's some short note power chords. Let's make them completely dry. let's get a little funky. Before we continue, I just want to say something real quick. For me, the thing that makes a sound library good is if I kind of get lost in the music as I'm improvising with it. And ADO, I have to say, always delivers on that front. Every one of their libraries I just find extremely musical and fun to play, and just has a huge sweet spot, if you know what I mean. It's not like you're not struggling to dial in a cool sound. You just like instantly get something that's playable and musical. And honestly, for this video, I recorded way too much footage because I just had so much fun playing these sounds and I had to really edit it down, but that's a good sign. I really love the little inconsistencies in this. The notes sound a little different from each other. There's little tuning things, stuff that makes it sound real, you know? It's not like bad detuning, it's cool detuning. It just sounds like you're in the room with a guitarist, and I love that. That's one of the aspects of keyboard sounds that makes things feel more organic and real, is when they're not too perfect. That's what's great with ADO stuff, is that they record the real deal. It's not just emulation or, you know, stretching one sample over a whole octave or something. It's, you know, there's round robins, there's so many different samples, different velocity layers. Everything is very, very smooth. You don't feel any jagged transitions between samples. It just feels fluid and natural. So here's an example of something you can do with sustained power chords. You can play them short or long, and they sound great. And here's an entirely different kind of articulation. This is a tremolo sound, which is great for creating pad-like sounds. Later, I'll show you more of an ambient pad I made using these samples, which I really love. I think my very favorite articulation in this library is the AMP Vibrato sound. It's just got this quality to it that just feels really powerful and inspiring, and I just feel like I'm in the hall with the 10 guitarists around me. I love playing this one and using it as a basis for programs and patches. Here's some sustained harmonics. Here's another sustained sound. I really love the detuning between the guitars in this one. Let's rock. Here's a sound that I personally find to be really gorgeous. It's a slow tremolo sound, and I haven't seen any sample like this in any other library, and it's just really beautiful, I think. All right, now I'm going to show you some of the patches that I programmed for this library. Some of them are more ambient, some are more experimental, and I made use of the awesome effects and modulation options that are available in Soundpaint to create these. Hope you enjoy. This one actually uses two types of effects. There's a shimmer reverb and a rain delay, which I control with the Modwheel. Alright, here's an example of using effects to create a tremolo guitar type sound. I called it emotional power. So here's an experiment that uses two types of sounds from this library in one patch. And the Modwheel kind of morphs between them. So when you play with the Modwheel down, you're going to get a kind of normal guitar sound. And when I turn it up, a feedback is added. And it's really cool to experiment with this kind of stuff in Soundpaint, and really easy to do as well. This next program utilizes some of Soundpaint's distortion effects, and I called it Glorious Fuzz. It is so much fun to play. It also has some reverb and delay on it as well. That was probably way too many notes, but you don't have to shred with it. It also sounds really good holding long notes and playing low notes as well. Here's another example of pairing distortion effects with spatial effects. So this is a distortion and a shimmer reverb. So you remember the Harmonics patch that I showed you earlier? Well, this one is based on it. I called it Morning Harmonics. Now the Modwheel introduces a lower octave, non-harmonic guitar sound with vibrato as well, controlled through an LFO. And I don't know, it just kind of gives me nostalgic vibes. I found that using some of these samples with the Bucket Brigade delay, the really good BBD delay that comes with Soundpaint, it gives you kind of an indie rock guitar sound that I love, and here's an experiment with that. you get all these really great sounding samples that sound great without having to manipulate them in any way. But you can take them into really different territories if you want to. So I don't have to make these guitars sound like guitars. I can take one of these sounds and change it and make it sound like something entirely different. So here's a patch I made called Remembering My First Band. Soundpaint also lets you really easily reverse samples. So here's an example of reversed guitar sounds with effects. It's also very easy to manipulate the tuning, the panning of every layer individually. And there's so many parameters you can tweak, but it never feels overwhelming. It's a very easy and intuitive interface. All right, up next, here's another example of using two different types of sounds and combining them in one program. So with the Modwheel down, you're going to hear a regular short articulation, but the Modwheel is going to introduce some picking noises, so it'll give it a more pronounced attack. Let me show you what I mean. So notice how the Modwheel adds in those noises. And here's another example using a sustained sound. Now, I know that's really exaggerated. The noises are way too loud, but you can dial them in as much as you want with the Modwheel. So I think I mentioned before that one of my favorite sounds here is the slow tremolo. I really love how they sampled this, and it just sounds beautiful in my opinion. So here's a patch, an ambient patch I made using these samples. This next one is called the Swarm. It also makes use of reversed sounds and effects. So my final example is a tremolo sound. This time it's the fast tremolo, and I turn it into a pad. The Modwheel controls EQ and various effects, and it's very dynamic to play. Alright guys, so that's it for my demo today. I hope you enjoyed it and gained something out of it. And I just want to thank Trolls and ADO for the opportunity to make videos for them. I really enjoyed this, and I hope you did too. Hope you have a wonderful week. I'll see you guys next time.